Okay, let me give you guys some more examples on limits. So for this one, find the limit of this as x heads towards 2. So the first thing you should do is put the 2 into the x. That would then be 8. And then put the 2 into here. That would be, overall it would be 12. And put the 2 into here. This would be 20 minus 20. And then put the 2 into the x. This thing here would be 0. So you're going to get 0 over 0. Now when it comes to limits, when you get 0 over 0, sometimes it will have a limit, sometimes it will have some sort of limit, sometimes it will be does not exist, DNE. You can't determine anything when it's 0 over 0, so you've got to do something cunning. Well, here the cunning thing that you should do is, well, notice that you've got x here, x is in common. Well, x is in common with all these 3 blocks. So the first thing you should do is factor out the x. So, hang on. So notice that x is in common, x is in common, x is in common. Factor out the x. So this times this will then give you this. This times this will then give you this. This times this will then give you this. Factor out the x. That will then take you to here. And so now you've got one block multiplying with another block. But then if you look at this block, you can factor this out even further, because when you look at this, your eyes are zoom into the 10. 2 numbers multiplied together to give you a 10. Well, it could be a 5 and a 2, or it could be a 10 and a 1. But then you also have to create this 3 here. Well, a 5 and a 2, you can create a 3 with this. There's no way you can create a 3 with a 10 and a 1, so you shouldn't be using this. You should use a 5 and a 2 when you come to factorize this. Well, it turns out that if you make it positive 5 and negative 2, it will then give you this thing here. So when you factorize this, it will give you this thing here. Okay, well, factorize it, it will then take you to here. And then notice that this bubble is exactly the same as this bubble, so they will cancel each other out, leaving you with this. So now once you're here, put a 2 into here, nothing breaks down. This here would be the number 7, and then put a 2 into here, so it's 2 times 7, which would be 14. See, nothing breaks down here, whereas up here you've got divided by 0. You're not allowed to divide by 0. Down here, nothing breaks down. Everything's legitimate. You put it into here, it would be 7 times 2. Nothing breaks down. So the limit here is 14. Okay. So next one. So here, the first thing you should do is test it. Put the 6 into here, which will be 36. Put a 6 into here, which will be 36 over. Well, if you put 6 into here, this whole thing here will then become, hang on, let's do it. This thing squared will be 36. 6 times 7 will be 42, and then plus 6. Well, this is going to be 0 over 0. When it comes to 0 over 0, you can't determine, because sometimes it will have a limit, sometimes it's DNE. You can't determine anything when it's 0 over 0. So you've got to do something cunning. Well, here notice that x is in common, x is in common. Factor out the x. So hang on. So notice that x is in common, x is in common. Factor out the x. That will then give you this. And then notice that, oh, and then down here, factor this out. It will then give you this. Because when you come to factor this, when you come to factorize it, your eyes are zoom into this 6. 2 numbers multiplied together to give you a 6. Well, it could be a 6 and a 1. It could be a 3 and a 2. But then you also have to create the number 7 here, the negative 7. Well, you can create a negative 7 with a 6 and a 1. But there's no way you can create a 7 with a 3 and a 2. So you should be using a 6 and a 1. Well, factorize this. It will then give you this thing here. If you make this to be negative 6 and negative 1, then you can create the negative 7 here. Well, factorize this, it will then give you this thing here. And then notice that these two are exactly the same. So now they cancel each other out, leaving you with this. Now you can put a 6 into here without it breaking down. So that will then be 6 take away 1 would be 5, and then put the 6 into here. So here nothing breaks down. You're not dividing by 0. So it's a legitimate answer. So the answer here, the limit, is actually 6/5. Okay.